what is even giving me joy is, pardon me to use that word, is the recent controversy with Pastor Femi Lazarus, with, you know, how exactly, you get it now, with how he sees ministers and the likes, where he's like, you know, for a minister to come to a church and collect this so amount of money, he's expected to perform instead of actually minister the gospel. So I've been very intentional about the kind of gospel music I even listen to.
It's all about love, to be very honest. First of all, honorarium is something that is given, not something that is requested. It's like a gift. All right. Thank you so much for coming around. Here's our gift to you. It is a good thing to honor them. Do you understand? Even in the Bible, we talk about honoring a lot. So if somebody comes, all right, to minister to God and to minister to people in your church, yes, maybe $10,000 is a stretch. Let's call it what it is, a stretch. But it isn't far-fetched to give them something. It's because we've turned it to business. And that's where the concept of gospel ministers, gospel artists come into question. Let's move on to more, let's say, current matters.
Yes, the cost of living.
But that was not the point.
I know the point was the cost of living
exactly
as a couple.
That was just a bystander. But everybody was attacking her because she said Tinubu was a bad president.
You know why they're attacking her? Because she attacked somebody. Okay. You saying Tinubu is a bad president is an opinion.
It's a description.
It's an opinion.
It's a description.
It's an opinion.
Okay.
It's not okay, search Google. First, Tinubu is a bad president. Would that come out in his biography?
My view, number one, Tinubu is a terrible president. Like it or not. It's not.
Be ready for backlash.
Let's not.
No, be ready for backlash. I've told you. Be ready for backlash.
Okay. The moment I stopped being politically active in Nigeria was when they told 500 million Nigerians that Snake ate 50 million naira. Like, it's different if you say, okay, the money was just lost in transit. We can argue, okay, whose pocket did it? Snake ate it.
Last Snake is the person, man. They know themselves. They know themselves. Let's face facts. 4 years is not enough to do much.
4 years is not enough to do much. I don't need you to do much. Just leave the country the way you met it. That's my own. Welcome back to the Max Talks podcast. Thank you guys so much for subscribing, commenting, and liking on the last video. We're here again another week to have conversations about different things. And today I have my friend here, Dami. All right. We have a lot to talk about today, and I hope you guys enjoy. But first, Dami, how far?
I'm fine. I'm good.
How was your week?
My week was okay. Thank God.
All right. So talk to us about what you did this week.
So this week was I had some back and forth with work, and then nothing majorly exciting happened. Even at work, we're just planning and preparing. You know, we're entering the second quarter now. So a lot of research is going on, and then boring stuff.
Oh, okay. Anything on your mind this week?
About the play.
Okay. So talk to us now. What's on your mind?
Currently, we're recording this on April 1st. So one of my goals for the year was to be intentional about my music listening and my music consumption.
Okay.
So it just came to mind today in church of like how far I've come this year. I made a decision to cut back on secular music and, focus more on gospel and the likes here. So I was just looking back, and then I think I'm happy with how far I've come. Okay. Because if you check my listening history, my Spotify history, mostly gospel. Although sometimes I listen to some music here and there. Like, I really like listening to movie soundtracks. So besides that, they're mostly like gospel music. So that is one thing that was on my mind. And another thing I would like to say is, we were talking about it before coming here, and it just occurred to me on the discourse between, what Christians should listen to, and even the definition of secular music in and of itself. How we look at music in general as Christians, especially in this generation, because it's so different now compared to, when I was growing up. Things were still black and white. Now everywhere is just gray. So yeah.
And give us your thoughts. What do you think? Okay, I think the general consensus is every time you're in church, we're talking about the likes of only listen to gospel music.
Yeah, that's
every other music is
sinful. Quote unquote sinful. Yeah.
So like, what's your perspective on it?
My perspective. Okay, let me give you like a breakdown of my thought process. My thought process is, in the difference between secular and gospel, I think I don't even like the word secular, because what we've come to define secular is not gospel, not gospel minded or not Christian minded, and I think that is not particularly telling on what secular music is. Secular music is, or let's not do that. Let's just go to what gospel music is in general. I think gospel music is just, as long as they mention Jesus inside, it's gospel.
No.
I think that's what a lot of people think.
No.
To be very honest, that's what a lot.
Okay.
I've been to a church where they played, when this song was very popular, this Korede Bello song that was about thanking God. I can't remember the name of the song now.
Okay.
I've been to a church that have played that song before. Not during service, but like after service, maybe the technical guys were just messing around, and that song came up, and I was like, in church, just keep playing this song, something like that. Do you get? Even there are some controversial artists, like this guy Friday, that was, that does a bit of gospel sometimes, does a bit of secular sometimes, so there's a lot of like backup. And even what is even giving me joy is, permit me to use that word, is the recent controversy with Pastor Femi Lazarus, with how exactly you get it now, with how he sees ministers and the likes, where he's like, for a minister to come to a church and collect this so amount of money, he's expected to perform instead of actually minister the gospel. So I've been very intentional about the kind of gospel music I even listen to, even within the concept of gospel music. It has to be something that is in line with my faith, my belief. Not to listen to like any other random things just because it has the word Jesus in it.
Okay, fair. If I'm giving my thoughts,
I'm listening.
my opinion,
I'm listening.
it's not facts. It's not facts. It's just, okay. One, not everything that has Jesus in it is gospel music.
Definitely.
Music is a concept of what spirit sponsored it for me. All right. Just because you hear Jesus, just because you hear praise God in it, doesn't necessarily mean it came from the Spirit of the Holy Spirit. Do you understand? So I was reading my Bible the other day, and what the Holy Spirit was trying to lead to me was like, the Spirit sponsors everything Spirit. In other words, even the songs that you hear people like Justin Yeko, sing and minister, and especially somebody like Pastor Theophilus Sunday, all right, is the Spirit that sponsors it. And those who are in the Spirit would know whether or not it's it. So it's not just about a case of is Jesus or is this thing. That's why when some people say, okay, but Nicki Minaj has like a gospel song, a song that is about Jesus, or you hear something like Justin Bieber, I'm like, it doesn't necessarily matter, all right? Was it sponsored by the Spirit? Yes or no? That's how whether we know it's a gospel song. That's like the first part, all right? Because, it's for the edification of, first of all, glorification of God, edification of men. All right. So once it doesn't fit either of these two criteria, or at least both of them, it's not gospel music, as far as I'm concerned. So it takes the spirit of discernment. It's not about Jesus. Sorry, quote unquote. It's not about saying Jesus. All right. That's number one. Number two, on the Apostle Femi Lazarus thing, I'm not a minister, so I can't really. But what I'll just say is, I'll repeat what my pastor said. Pastor Aaron. It's all about love, to be very honest. First of all, honorarium is something that is given, not something that is requested. It's like a gift, all right? Thank you so much for coming around. Here's our gift to you. It's not something that you say, okay, give me. You don't request a gift, you are given, all right? So for ministers to come around and start saying, okay, give me honorarium, I can get why you say it's wrong. Do you get what I'm saying? But at the same time, it is a good thing to honor them. Do you understand? Even in the Bible, we talk about honor a lot. So if somebody comes, all right, to minister to God and to minister to people in your church, yes, maybe $10,000 is a stretch. Let's call it what it is, a stretch. But it isn't far-fetched to give them something. Do you understand? And that's where I feel like everybody, it's all about love. Naturally, if somebody comes, it doesn't take you anything to give, all right? That's just the reality. Even if I invite somebody else on this podcast, like you, for example, if I feel the need or I'm led to give you, I give you. And like he said, a lot of these ministers also even just say they reject it, or they not necessarily reject, but they say sow it back into your ministry. So it's not always like you are giving because you are paying the person, because you're not paying the person. I love the way Pastor Nathaniel Passy puts it. It was like whenever he comes to minister, he's not ministering for people. He's ministering to first and foremost honor God, glorify God, and then through that minister to people. So unless you are you are paying him for doing that to God. It doesn't make any. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's not payment. Honorarium is not supposed to look like payment. All right. It's because we've turned it to business. And that's where the concept of gospel ministers, gospel artists come into question. All right. I can't differentiate the two. But one thing I can tell you is that if you're a gospel artist, then follow artistry. If you're a gospel minister, follow ministry. Because ministry is, like I learned yesterday, glorification of God, edification of men, and leading them to Christ. So if you are doing ministry and not leading people to Christ, it's not ministry. Do you understand what I'm saying? You are just performing. That's the reality of what we are doing. Do you get? So in this kind of case, these are the kind of things we talk about. So like I said, can't really speak on, do you understand? Because there's a lot of controversy over like Pastor Femi Lazarus right now. Not to say I don't like the man. Amazing. I'll still listen to his preaching. It's very amazing. He's very, very good at what he does. And he's obviously sponsored by the Spirit. I'm not one to comment whether he's right or whether he's wrong or whether what you're saying is good. It doesn't really matter. Do you get? I just give my necessary point. As for like why people should listen to, because I think I like what you said, where you are trying to be intentional. Like I said, everything has a spirit. We are talking about the fact that like, if I listen to worldly songs, and there's another like demarcation within that, not everything that doesn't have Jesus automatically is worldly.
Exactly.
I think I love Pastor Aaron when he said that he listens to Johnny Drill. It's not about everything must be. There's a good diet. Do you understand? Think of it like your music tastes like classes of food.
Exactly.
What is harmful to me should not be eaten. Do you understand?
Exactly.
Like bad music where you hear about glorification of the devil and all these things is like poison to your mind. Whereas there's just some music that's it's just speaking on something like love. Like Johnny Drill's songs mostly about love, about emotion, things like that. They're not necessarily poisoning you. Isn't also doing so much good to you. It's kind of like neutral. It's like drinking water. Do you get? Water does something to you, but not necessarily like it's just base. Do you get what I'm saying? Right? Bad analogy, but you get the gist. It's not so much that it's enriching you, but the absence of itself is bad. Do you understand? If all you listen to is gospel music, there's nothing wrong with it, but you will always sort of seek out for more. Do you get? There will always be a part of it that feels like you want to explore a little bit. Like, for example, okay, when I was transitioning for like music, and this is not to say that I don't listen to gospel music. When I was transitioning to music, or let me use another one. One of my guys, music person, Japheth, a lot of guys know him. Japheth has a playlist for different things, all right? He has a playlist for like just vibing. When I say vibing, obviously sensible vibing, but like just vibing. He has a playlist of Afrobeat. He has a playlist for spoken word, which is so beautiful because I think spoken word, I'm a fan of poetry. Most people don't know me about that. Like, I love poetry, to be honest, especially spoken word. I'm a big fan of like I.B. Quake, to be very honest, and Tisha and the likes. But like, there's a balance in everything where, okay, I listen to things like Johnny Drill. Some people just pick and choose. Do you understand what I'm saying? All right. But there are different songs. All right. Like, for example, if I want to pray, certain songs I listen to. When I just want to worship, certain songs I listen to. When I want to praise God, certain songs I listen to. Do you understand what I'm saying? Depends on just what you want to listen to. If you want to vibe, if you want to pray, if you want to this thing. And even Pastor Aaron says it's like worship songs or songs about like prayer, education of prayer, like speaking in tongues, they help you to reach certain levels in your devotion. Do you understand? So songs are not just for vibes. Songs can be gateways. Songs can be poison. Songs can be misleading. Different kinds of things. And that's why personally, like if I'm advising people, like it's not a matter of like if you listen to like those or that kind of songs, you will go to hell. It's not a sin. Do you understand? But they kind of poison your mind a little bit. Whereas, okay, you are depressed and you're listening to Juice WRLD, you're feeding the spirits. Do you get? You're feeding the spirit of depression. Like, you're feeding that kind of spirit that's going to keep you. That's why when you listen to Juice WRLD and you're depressed, you just feel happy in that state. Because you don't want to get out of it. You're enjoying where you certainly are at that moment. And that's the reality because you're feeding the spirits. Do you understand? If you want to listen, that's why when like you're praying and you're listening to prayer songs, you're feeling the spirit of prayer. You're feeling the Holy Spirit. You want to pray more. That's why when they're like, okay, a hack, quote unquote, I'm using the word quotes, to pray longer is number one, listen to other people pray. 1, 2, listen to prayer songs where they are speaking in tongues, things like that, because you are feeding the Holy Spirit as you are doing it consistently, edifying yourself, but also growing that spirit of prayer, your inner man. Do you get? So like that's like my honesty on music, and that's like what moves on. And I like to transition into something where we want to talk about like principle as above systems. Now, in this case, people take it as you're listening to music, it's not doing anything to you. That's a system. That is like the actual action. The principle behind it is what we are battling, not the action. All right, let me give you an example. I've left music. Every parent wants, okay, let me not say every parent, every good parent wants their child to grow up in the Lord. Train a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from his Bible. All right? Now, the principle behind it, you want to give your child a good foundation so that when he grows up, he doesn't depart from the Lord. And not just know Bible for Bible. Because I think the concept of just taking people to church is not good enough. While they are young is good, because at that point, be exposed to the environment. But as you're growing older, like for me, when you're like 14, 15, 16, or as early as you can have sense, I feel like you should begin to expose them to like, know God for yourself.
That's what the Sunday school.
No. I think Sunday school is cool, but you don't have sense. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I understand like in today's day and age, a lot of people are exposed to it a lot more. Well, let me use myself as an example. Sunday school, I don't have sense.
I think your version of Sunday school is flawed. Because, last year I used to sample a lot of churches, and then when I say sample, I mean I used to go to a lot of churches, and then I saw a lot of different variations of Sunday school.
Yeah.
Particular church, I don't want to mention the name because I feel like a lot of people stereotype it. Their Sunday service is such a way that even before the actual service starts, they have a Sunday service where all of them gather, even the adults, to talk about. It's like fellowship. Okay. So even before the main service, I think by 8 to like 9 or so, all of them in church. Church is very small. So I think it only works because it's very small. So all of them come gather, they talk about their week, their experiences with God, if they're having any issues in their faith.
Yeah.
Things like that. And I really like that about that church, at least at that moment.
Okay, yeah, I feel like that works. But in like more contemporary, larger churches, it's not,
definitely
it's going to be hard. But like that's the way I'm driving at. The point I'm trying to make is like the foundation of what you're trying to do is you're trying to build a proper foundation for the person. All right. So that by the time they are old enough to make their own decisions, right decisions, they stick to it. Do you get? Because like systems are good, and don't get me wrong, all right? It is, I think, I can't remember who said this right now. You don't fall to the level of your goals, you rise to the level of your system, something like that, basically. Systems are great, but I feel like take it a step further and understand the principle behind the systems, because I feel like that's where the key is in the reality of things. Because when you understand the principle, regardless of how the system changes, you'll be the same. And that's what I'm saying, like, your relationship with God is the principle behind the whole church thing. Do you understand? If you don't have a relationship with God, whether or not you're going to church does not matter. And that's like what happened to me. I was going to church. I did never missed church between the ages of when I was born to like when did I enter till I entered university. Never missed a single Sunday. Except COVID. No, COVID was after, exactly. So I entered from the moment I was born till university, I never missed a single Sunday of church. I never had a relationship with God. I saw God more as a tool, as opposed to a father, which is different. Although there are like many shapes of God, but like, do you get? And I think CCI helped me understand that like some of us just go to God when you need something, when you want something, when you want to feel something, or just something about you. Do you understand? And that makes God like, okay, this kind of get out of jail free card. If I need, let me just, because you believe, and the version of God people do like carry all their lives. They already believe that, okay, phase, all right, when I need something, God is able and He's able. I'm not trying to doubt that. Do you get? But at the same time, there's more to it. Yeah. Pastor Ray says this a lot, sorry. If you only go to God for what you need, you're wasting, not you're a waste, but like, for me, you're a waste, to be very honest, like, because there's so much more to it than that. Definitely. Do you get?
Just to comment on what you were saying, I think, at least for me, I'm also in the same situation as you were, where, growing up, we grew up in church. If I grew up in LFC, I initially was in Lagos and then used to go to Kenaland. I think one of the biggest things that happen to children, or for my case specifically, is as you're being raised in church like that and you don't have that personal relationship, a lot of times you become desensitized to, what they say in church. Like, it got to a particular point where if I had issues and I wanted to I would not bother going to see people in church because I already felt like I already knew what they were going to say. Do you get? Like there's a kind of overexposure
where they go
exactly everything, just they hear the same thing every Sunday. Yeah. So that was one of the things that really affects that.
Yeah. But more to my point. All right. So back to this guy, because all these was just like foundations of what I want to say. The foundation of what we want to do for a parent is the concept of, okay, train your child in the way you should go. You will not depart from it. Build a relationship with God. Revolves around everything else you want to do, to be honest. Now, this guy goes to church A. I'm not going to mention the churches for like certain reasons. Church A, all right, all his life, there's growth, but minute. Do you understand? And there are many factors to that. There's no need to go into it, but like very minute growth. And then goes to church B. Like one of his friends just invites him. Okay, come to this church. Yeah, they go. Do you understand? Like, me, I just, they go. So my guy will just... And then he experiences Jesus like never before in his entire life. And then becomes part and parcel of that church. One problem. All right, okay. He joins service unit, very active. He's blessed. Growth in his spiritual life. Learns a lot about God. Powerful. I know this guy. Between 2022 and now, very different. Do you understand? Very, 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 very different. But at the point in his life, he was struggling. In the sense that, okay, he wanted to do something. His parents were like, this is my church. This is church A. This is where we've known. And the reason why I don't really blame the parents, follow me, is because this is what they've known. Apostle Lazarus said something. He said, once all somebody knows is a cup, they can't think beyond that cup. Do you understand? They can't go beyond the boundaries of what you know because everybody's is scared of change. All right. So this is what they know. And it works for them. Do you understand? They grow in that church. They've like expanded, quote unquote, in that church. And when they pray, God answers because God is faithful. Now their child is saying, I want to go to church B because I'm growing here. I'm doing better here. I'm thriving here. There's feedback. There's fights. Now, when the guy came to me and asked me like, okay, what should they? I said, to be honest, you have to just explain to your parents, like, I get the points, but like, in today's day and age where we are even fighting to get people to church, like, these, your parents are arguing what church you should go to. Some parents are arguing, let this guy stop drinking. Let this guy stop. Like, there's some arguments that I feel like you shouldn't have. Do you get? Because if you understand that all this guy just wants to do is grow, the point is you want to give this guy a good foundation. All right. He has done that. Now he has found the face where he can blossom. All right. Even the Bible said, okay, Paul planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the increase. Fine, you're giving him a good foundation, Paul planted. Let him go to a place where he can flourish. Apollos watered, then God will give the increase. That's just my point. Where in this kind of case, it's less about the system, church, and more about the principle. Where are you growing? That's my point.
But I would argue for the parents in the sense that maybe they don't have that like trust in where he's going or the new church. You know, I think especially a lot of these new churches and even CCI suffered this at the particular point where they get the label of youth church. And a lot of parents, especially, you know, that generation X, the boomers, they don't particularly trust, you know, up and coming churches.
And to answer that,
you know, I was having this conversation with my mom recently, and I was talking about like I wanted to go to a particular church at that time.
Yeah.
And she was like, what church is that? She didn't know it. And I told her that, okay, this is the name. And she went to search for it and she was like, this is a youth church now. And she was like, that was how, you know, Winners was for her at the time. Because that time now Baptist then they go. So she was like, you know, you guys are coming up, you might want to say something different, but she cannot really give me her blessing, quote unquote, because she has not exactly, that's what she knows and that's what she's used to.
And this thing is the same. Even in the Bible, test all things, hold steadfast to what is true. Test it. You get, like, that's my point. Like, you're a parent, you're skeptical about like what your child is doing. I have no problem. Skeptical is fine. All right. This is what you know. The cure to ignorance is knowledge. Cure to lack of knowledge is knowledge. So, for example, if you don't know the church, fine. You don't know the church, nobody is chastising you. Test it one Sunday. Test it. And that, you see, that's the reluctance. That's just the reluctance. Test it one Sunday.
I can already imagine like the arguments that some people bring. Nobody wants to have the time to do that. You get? What? Like some people are already known. I don't know how to put it. Some people are already known in like their comfort zone. They're already known in this church that missing a service for them is detrimental. The same thing happened to my dad. I'm telling you that my dad, to miss Sunday service at his church, problem. I remember when we used to travel Like to maybe we'll go to Ilorin, for example, maybe to see someone, maybe to go to a wedding.
Yeah.
Go on Saturday, maybe we'll go on Friday, go on Saturday. And normally now, we don't make the trip back on Saturday or Friday. Ilorin is about 3 to 4 hours. This man will leave, even if it's by 8 p.m., he will leave Ilorin to go back to Ibadan because he wants to attend service on Sunday. He cannot miss that service for anything.
Agreed.
For
I don't have a problem with that.
let on our strike. Since they go, nothing like that though.
That's not my problem. That's not my problem. That's not my problem. You want to try it, Dami? Try any church. Do you understand? And today is even social media makes it easy. Stream it. I don't have a problem with your dad doing this, and that's what works for him. Do you get, like, he's all right for because it's good. But wait. It's not like they are not other stream it. Calm down. Think about it. All right. Social media has made life easy for you. You don't want to go anywhere, Abi? No problem. You come back from church, all right? That you want to test my church. Come and listen. Come and stream. It's as simple as that. You're not going anywhere. Do you get what I'm saying? Just test it and see, and test it with an open mind. Don't test it like you're trying to judge the church. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because if things are happening in the church, things are happening in the church, whether or not. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's less about, obviously, in context. I'm not saying you should carry your 12-year-old son and just be allowing him to do whatever he wants to do. That's sensible. But in today's Nigerian economy, and we'll talk about that, where even 23-year-olds living their father's house is not easy. Do you understand this kind of economy? If you have a son that's like 21, all right, finish school for whatever reason, and they are at home, they want to try something, allow. Do you understand? What's come to us, you make a mistake, you come back. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, it's not a check the church. That's what I'm saying. Just check. I'm not saying go there. Okay, if you want to go there, experience it live. If you want to listen to the word. Because the idea is that you just want to make sure that what they're teaching your son is valid. Which makes a lot of sense.
The point is logical, yeah? The point is very logical. But the issue is, most people like that, or most parents, I would say, would not like work on that logic. Most of them are too emotional to even like think outside of, maybe the 5 or 6 pastors.
So you're saying they are small-minded?
I'm not saying they are small-minded. I'm saying that they are hard to shift. They are inflexible. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. They're inflexible to
they are rigid.
things like that. Not rigid, inflexible.
Inflexible and rigid. That's the same thing.
Very different.
Okay, first, continue.
It's very different. You're an engineer now. You're supposed to know these things. So, they might not want to actively pursue. You already said it you already like mentioned one of the problems that would occur.
Okay.
They would watch it with the mindset of judging. Like, to make them not judge, I don't know how that is achievable, though. Maybe somebody does, but I really don't know.
I prefer it. Like, you just have to have an open mind. It's the only way.
No, you're saying
this kind of thing works.
As you're saying, it's easy to say, but to do is the issue. It's very easy to say, be open-minded, watch it with an open heart, don't judge. But by the time, from what the pastor is wearing, they've already started. From the hairstyle, they've already started. You know. From the hair, in fact, that's a very good example. From the hairstyle, let him just have one big afro like this. Pastor Elio Badun. That's what they will say.
Pastor Lushola, not the one from CCI, mentioned one thing. It was like, ministry is beautiful, but it's what makes you specifically. All right, that's the difference. Not everybody has to wear suits.
No, definitely.
Like the reality of everybody.
Definitely, but
everybody has to wear. I get the idea, but that's like the point of what I'm trying to say. The principle. And I think that's what I like telling people. Like, a lot of the time. For example, me now, if you want to use that kind of an example for me, is like, I started reading. You know me now, up until this year, or let's just say up until 10 months ago, you could count the amount of books I've read in my life on your fingers in my life. But I decided to start reading for 2 reasons. One, because I needed to start reading. For reasonable. And when I say reading, I don't mean any kind of book. Like, obviously, we read our books in school. I graduated well. But when you are reading with no compulsion, nobody is forcing you to read a book. All right? Do you understand? And 2 reasons. One, the principle of focus. Because when you're listening, I've listened to billions of podcasts, billions. And millions of YouTube videos. It's easy because you're just watching. You don't even need to focus to really, really... I can do 5 things and be listening to... Do you understand? I have my tab here, my laptop, my phone, do you understand? Do you get 2x? Just be blasting through. It takes a lot of little focus. And that's is another talk on its own, where a lot of people in this age lack focus and lack the listening skill. Somebody come and tell me that I cannot listen to a podcast for 5 minutes.
Too much TikTok.
It's crazy,
Too much
that's another thing. But what I'm just trying to say is like, one, the concept of focus, because like in this day, like it's very difficult for people to focus on one thing at a time, where it's not even distraction. I've seen a case where people can't just sit down and read a book. You read 2 chapters, it's taking 4 days. Do you get my point? And even me, when I started, it took a while. Do you understand? Because to tell yourself, I want to sit down and be staring at a white page book and be reading lines is not easy. Obviously, people like you that read like you don't have anything else to your life, it's easy for you. But like someone like me that it's not easy. Do you get my point? Yeah. 2, discipline. Because like it's a transferable skill. You need to grow discipline, start in the small things, all right? Where if you cannot be disciplined enough to fast, start with smaller things you can be disciplined with. Waking up early, reading a book, consistently taking a walk. Those things tend to transfer into the real things you want to do. Start small, move on to things that you actually want to do. That's the reality of like how, and that's one hack with discipline I think I learned, is that even if you're not disciplined at what you can do, like for example, where, okay, if I am trying to be disciplined in maybe my eating habits, I want to fast. But I try. And I can't get an accountability partner. Try and be disciplined in other things. It builds itself up. One of the things, atomic habits, that's what I was trying to think. Atomic habits, one thing I learned about atomic habits is that a lot of the time, all these habits are transferable to other things. If you build, and think of habits are like, think of your personality like a ballot, and habits are like pieces of paper into a ballot. All right. For every act of discipline, you are training your personality to say, I'm a disciplined person. Not, I like reading. I am a disciplined person for every act of discipline. So when you want to do something that translates to another thing, like for example, if I have focused myself, I'm going to be waking up at 6 a.m. every morning. Over time, I've taught my body, my personality that this is discipline. I'm a disciplined person. First day, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, all right? And I have outweighed the indiscipline. So the concept where I can now, do you understand? It doesn't happen immediately. Do you understand? People say, back to music, people say it takes like 21 days of constant listening to music to learn the song without actually trying. So it takes time. I'm not saying if you suddenly start waking up today, after this week, you suddenly be a disciplined. That's not what I'm saying. But you repeatedly do something for a week or consistently do different things, not just one thing, all right, for a period of time, you realize that it can translate such skill into other areas of your life. Do you get? Think of it like soft transfer. So more or less, like that's the concept of like principle I'm trying to talk about, where we need to move. We moved from setting goals, because I feel like in the early millennials, those people, sorry, I don't mean to insult. Millennials, right? We're focused on setting goals. Later than that, boomers were focused on setting goals. Mistake. Boomers were focused on setting goals. Millennials are focused on creating systems. Even till now, we're focused on creating systems. I think we should just follow principles. Following principles is the key. You understand the principle, you're going to go anywhere you go. Because principles rarely change. Systems can change. But principles are like the core. You build your systems around your principles, and you build your goals around your systems. And that's how, more or less, you get to where you are. But back to where we're going. Talking about like the concept of church. So I've given my advice of what you think what that guy should do. Because he's still battling the issue, to be very honest.
Yes,
right? He's still battling the issue. What do you think he should do?
What he should do?
What do you think he should do? So he wants to go to church B. He's at church A. There's compromise. Nobody wants to compromise. He doesn't want to remain at church A. His parents don't want him to go to church B.
He doesn't want... Do they live together?
They live together.
I think at that point, if you're living together, you just have to like... you just have to take one for the team, man. You have to like compromise. And you said there is streaming platforms. But if he doesn't want to go to the streaming platforms, I think... Depending on the church, there's the concept of, one service, do one service here, do another service.
That's stressful though.
Till you find your place now, you have to do that. Or you can watch the video content, stream the service live, or even like attend maybe their midweek services instead.
They don't want it to go there.
They don't want it to go at all.
They don't want it to go there. So what's the choice?
At all. Don't want it to go.
Let's just say it's a struggle. It's a deep
Honestly,
struggle.
besides attending to churches, I don't think there's any other step he can take
Okay.
that would satisfy anybody. He just has to take that, discomfort for now till he finds his place to attend the two churches.
Okay.
And another thing I feel like you should actively continue to do is to invite them. I feel like one day they'll break. Like there's no how, if you push somebody, especially when they know that it's not a bad thing, when you push someone to do this thing over and over again, one day they'll say yes. No how. At least for me. If I know it's a good thing, it's not a bad thing, and someone is asking me, do this, I might say no today, no tomorrow. Eventually I'll be like, okay, let me just do it. So this guy get off my head. Get off my plates. Will not disturb me again. So that's it. He just has to be persistent and take that discomfort for now.
Okay. Let's move on to more, let's say, current matters. All right. So, as we know in the country, like the past few weeks, there has been a little bit of like, let's call it 30 days rants. Okay. So we'll talk about the 30 days rant, the origin. Then we go to your own 30 days rant. At least you go rants today. All right. So we all know the story. A babe came out, rightly so, to complain about the issue of the country, state of the country, economic stability, whatever you want to call it, of Nigeria. All right. And she mentioned a lot of things, all true. Everything she said in that video was true. Whether you like it or not, some people say something, there's your view, there's my view, and the truth. What she said is the truth. It's not a matter of view. All right. What's your take on what she said?
What's my take on what she said?
What she said. Everything. Okay,
On
let's
what
say
she said.
what she said and the reaction to it.
Okay, my take on what she said was, I think the major thing, or the thing that stands out the most in what she said was, Tinubu is a bad president. Let me just
She said terrible. Not bad.
terrible. Okay, terrible. It's even terrible.
Terrible president.
And that was like the main.
That's not the main. That's what people concentrated on.
That was the main thing I had.
No, that's not what. That's my point. The entire reaction was
was my
that
head,
she
though.
said
Yes, the cost of living.
But that was not the point.
I know the point was the cost of living
Exactly.
is higher as a couple.
That was just a bystander. But everybody
But-
was attacking her because she said he was a bad president.
You know why they're attacking her? Because she attacked somebody. No. That's it. No, I'm not
She
going
didn't
against
attack.
her.
She didn't attack.
I'm not going against her.
She didn't attack. Okay.
You saying Tinubu is a bad president is an opinion.
It's a description.
It's an opinion.
It's a description.
It's an opinion.
Okay.
It's not. Okay. Search Google. Press Tinubu is a bad president. Would that come out in his biography? It will not. It's not a description. It's an opinion. It's our opinion. I would not. I don't want to come here and say Tinubu is a good or bad president. I don't want to be in
Do
that
you
conversation.
agree?
I do not want to be in that conversation.
You don't agree?
But what I'll say is that, okay, yes, her main point was the cost of living is higher. The money, the allowance for coppers is not enough. And
yeah.
this is true. I was a copper last year, so I knew very well that, that money is really not it.
You'll be declaring
That money is transfer fare. That money is just to go and come back.
Okay.
And so that was the main thing. But for the fact that she attacked someone, I think that was her mistake. Let's not see. Yes, you should go directly into the meat of it. Yes. But there's also being, discerning in the points that you don't directly go against. And that is one of the reasons why these people, and I think the reason her stuff blew up like that is because she made that statement. You see, that was what I focused on.
That's not the reason why I blew.
That's one of the reasons I feel like it blew up.
That's not the reason why I really blew.
It has to be one of them.
Okay, first, go.
It has to be one of them because she went directly at, a very controversial person,
Okay.
especially in today's day and age.
Okay.
A lot of people have a lot of opinions about that guy. In fact, I was speaking with one of my senior staff at my company, and somebody just said jokingly that Tinubu is a bad president. The man changed it for everybody.
Why? APC.
Man is a defender.
APC.
Tinubu. May nobody talk about Tinubu about Tinubu for everyone. So I think I won't say it's a mistake, but I felt like when she did that, she should have prepared her mind that yes, they're going to come after me. Even if it didn't blow up, somebody is definitely going to come after her. One thing that really surprised me was the fact that the LGI even found that video in the first place. I really wonder how. Because it was the LGI's reaction to that post that made it blow up.
Yes, yeah, that was what made it blow up.
I really wonder how. Maybe the post was maybe 200 views or so before because she was not a very popular person. She was popular, but
No. Okay.
I did not know her before that time.
Okay, cool.
And I used TikTok a lot.
Okay.
So she should have ready in her mind that yes, as I've talked this one now, I will see one comment that says Tinubu is a good president and we'll drag it.
Let me add this.
Imagine, okay, wait, you used to tell a lot, now I don't. Imagine she put that on Twitter now, and maybe she's someone that has a lot of followers, and she put that on Twitter, Tinubu is a bad president. What do you think the reaction will be like?
Twitter is different.
No!
Twitter is different.
Once you put something on social media like that is very
Twitter is
controversial,
different.
you should expect backlash. I feel like you just ready yourself that, I don't put this one, no, make her day ready. Whether I'll respond or not, that's just the sensible thing to do, in my opinion. No.
Okay.
So that is my view on the whole thing.
And
my view on her particular, yes, the cost of living is high, definitely. That is no contest. In fact, even with the increased salary, someone was doing a comparison and I saw it. At the time where the 33,000 was just reinstated, dollar was about, when you converted it was about $75. Now, if you convert 77,000, is about maybe $50 or less than that. So even if you look at it in comparison, it's still not equal. So you get. So even the 70, I doubt it's enough for some people, especially people living in places like Lagos. That place now, in fact, that's what we still transfer money.
Is a start.
It's a start, definitely.
Okay,
yeah. So that is my whole about it.
My view, number one, Tinubu is a terrible president. Like it or not, it's not.
Be ready for backlash.
Let's not.
Be ready for backlash. I've told you. Be ready for backlash.
Okay. Let's not lie to ourselves. Is the truth. 1, 2. Take it as like this. People attack. That's not my issue. People attacking her for her lifestyle does not make any sense.
Well, that one was
no pause. Think about this.
That one was.
They said the girl is balling out. She's doing this, doing this. My question is, so okay, let's assume she's doing it, so she cannot complain.
In fact, I intentionally ignored that. Complain. You know, I didn't mention that when I was talking. I intentionally ignored that because I felt like those guys were just talking. They were just saying their own thing.
Like some people are saying, okay, even if she's doing it, so she cannot complain. Okay. Like so rich people automatically now no complain. You go just accept. Like it doesn't matter. Like they're also spending money, just that they have more of it.
That one.
Do you get my point? That's number one. Number two. Back to this Tinubu issue. See, I've said it before. Nigeria is a beautiful country. No argument. But you see me, I'm not necessarily somebody you call politically active. Take as that's what you wish. You know the reason why? The moment I stopped being politically active in Nigeria was when, and I did research on it, slight research, but research nonetheless, when they said, I think, was it JAMB? One body in Nigeria, they stole, I know it's an educational body, they stole 50 million.
It's JAMB.
And Snake.
Yeah.
That's not the biggest issue. To be honest, that's not the biggest issue. I know it's the fact that nothing happened. First of all, the audacity to come and tell. Do you understand how stupid you have to be? Like how they have to lowly rate you. Do you know the only kind of person you can tell that lie to is a 5-year-old? Where you tell the person, it's like me just telling you a monkey ate your food. You go, because you're young, you go just stay calm. They told 120, 200, let's just assume we're about 500 million Nigerians. That Snake ate 50 million naira. And everybody just pretended like nothing happened. That's when I knew this country, wash my hands. Because it's not, what else? They can tell you anything and you believe it. I'm not saying Nigerians believed it too. But for the fact that nothing happened was where I left it. I don't even care whether it is 50 million or 100K. The fact that they just didn't have the energy to come up with a good excuse. They just said, Snake exists. And everybody just pretended like nothing happened. See that point? I was done. I was completely done. Because at that point, it's the lack of disrespect for all human beings in Nigeria, to be very honest. It doesn't even old, young, whatever, this thing. And let me not even get started with the fact that your president, let's just leave him. Old, young, everything. You are telling so is rubbish. You can't even tell a normal adult that, talking of the entire population of Nigeria, and there was nothing that happened. We all pretended like, because when I first heard it, and when I was doing my research for this podcast, I actually thought, okay, maybe there was backlash, and maybe they took it to a court case, and somehow the thing just, nothing happened. No courts, no chat, nobody. They talked about it as per social media now. But after like 2 weeks, it all pretended like nothing happened. And everybody just went about their day like it's normal. Like it's different if you say, okay, the money was just lost in transit. We can argue, okay, whose pocket did it? Snake ate it.
Well, that snake is the person now. They know themselves. They know themselves. That snake is code word for art. Now this guy chop am.
Chris, that's so when you now come and talk about, and I know it's not in Tinubu's regime. Before people come and say, oh, I'm talking trash. I know it's not in Tinubu's regime. I am clear of that. But how do you expect your government to take you seriously? That's my question. How? When they know they've told you that kind of rubbish and you can take it. I think Nigeria is just a simulation, and quote me, Nigeria is just a simulation to test how much rubbish you can take. As much, just continue. Because what else do they want to tell you? Okay, an LGI person was that jobless, checked TikTok. Okay, you found the video. They sent you the video. You went through your database, found, because Rai is a common name, I'm very sure. Her full name is a common name. You found the exact Rai. It showed me that she called like 3 other Rais before she got her, but you found the exact Rai.
Out of maybe like 20,000.
And you threatened. Jesus Christ. And you threatened this babe. Like, how jobless do you have to be? Like, that woman alone, that's just, what are you doing? But leave that. All right. Back to Tinubu's regime. I don't know what you want to do. Do you know why I'm not even participating in 30 days rant as much? Because I know that 2027 will come and people will still vote Tinubu. That's my biggest issue. Nigeria's biggest problem is Nigerians. Full stop. The fact that you can see suffering, but because they bought bag of rice and they shared it to all of you, that's your biggest problem.
It's not even just the bag of rice. You know,
whatever they give you, and you're selling your soul for another thing. I'm not even saying Tinubu is embezzling money. I'm not a politician. Like I said, I'm not politically active. I'm not saying Tinubu is embezzling money. But look at the regime. Like, first of all, one of the biggest issues I have with Nigeria's whole democracy is that there is a clear retirement age for every government worker. But your president, I don't know his age, but he cannot be less than 80.
Don't even go there.
How?
You know,
what are you doing?
Don't even go there.
Even if the man is the smartest man in Nigeria, he clearly does not have the strength to manage an entire country. He could be the brilliant man. I'm not even saying the man is stupid. He did things for Lagos that are unimaginable. We accept. You shouldn't be managing the country. I'm sorry. If that's the only reason why I don't want to vote him in, it's simple. I'm not saying everybody else, like Peter Obi is not young. I'm not saying all of them. But the fact that he's that old, allow. Did you get my point? And a lot of people are going to disagree with me. I don't see your opinion. Like I said, this is an opinion podcast. Your opinion is cool. I'm not throwing out advice. I'm giving my opinion. But realistic is crazy.
Honestly speaking, that point, I don't think you should even have mentioned it. Do you know why I would say that? Because this is not a problem that is, specific to Nigeria. Power is hard to let go of. Even someone like Joe Biden was past that age now. When did he step down?
And he left it. Did he not he left it.
Why did he leave it? Was he not pressured into leaving it?
Sha left it.
He was pressured. He was pressured into leaving. He didn't willingly leave. He didn't say, okay, I'm old, let me leave. They had to protest. Even after he left, although this is another entire talk.
On its own, yeah.
Even after he left, he wasn't particularly supportive of the person that was going to take over.
Because he was running against him in his own term. That's different.
Power is hard to let go of. And not even just in Nigeria. There are other countries in Africa where the 10-by-10 basis is just for cruise. That thing has basically turned to royalty now. And you know this, there's a particular president, I was watching a video and it was like he's serving presidency for like the 12th term in Africa. 12th term, 4 years, that's 48 years. In office, president. And he's giving himself the title of president with his full chest. He should just change it to king. So I want to know that yes,
Dictator. He's not-
exactly.
he's
Let's
dictator.
know where we are. Let's know
Dictator.
where we are. There's no need to be doing some kind of one.
Yeah.
Just exactly. So that point, I feel like that one is not even specific to Nigeria. My own issue is with. I don't want to talk about Tinubu's matter too much because I feel like it's too. I won't say controversial because I talked about Buhari. I feel like it's too. I don't want to say too. Okay, it's too soon.
Soon.
It's too soon. Should I tell you why?
2 years into his regime.
Should I tell you why? Inflation is not a problem that is specific to Nigeria. Again, inflation is happening everywhere. Like let's face facts. Even in US, there's inflation.
Sounds like a Tinubu supporter.
I'm not a Tinubu supporter.
But it's sounding like it.
I'm not a Tinubu supporter.
Okay. You go
I'm
defend.
not particularly against him. But the one thing I'd like to point out is
I'm not a Tinubu supporter.
I'm not particularly against him as well.
Continue.
The one thing I'd like to point out is governance is hard. Leadership is hard. And also,
I agree.
you have to give people time to like fuck up or to do. That's why there is a maximum of 2 terms, a maximum of 8 years. Because let's face facts, 4 years is not enough to do much. Let's actually face facts. Okay, let's give a very. Let me give you a very
Calm down,
specific
calm down.
reason.
Let me say this.
Let me give
4
you
years. No, 4 years is not enough to do much. I don't need you to do much. Just leave the country the way you met it. That's my own.
But
Do you know that if he left the country the way he met, let me say this. If Tinubu left the country the way he met it, he would have been our best president in about 15 years.
But you know that lack of progress is basically the same thing as going backwards.
So you prefer this?
Honestly, lack of progress, going backwards, same. You know why? Everybody's moving forward.
I agree.
If you remain on one spot,
We
relatively,
have very different versions of. See,
you're going back. Oh,
I don't care. Leave Nigeria the way you left it. Dollar at whatever. I think it was like 700, 800. Leave dollar at that. Forex guys go cry, but smalls. Leave Nigeria the way you left it.
so it's dollar price that is your own issue now.
Dollar, fuel, food. I don't understand. What are you talking? Transportation. Add everything together.
Inflation happens. I'm not supporting Tinubu, but inflation really happens everywhere. You can't really like say that, oh, Tinubu within 2 years fix Nigeria's inflation.
Don't fix.
You should leave it.
Remain the way it
You know,
is.
some things are
Maintain.
out of like his control, yeah?
Okay, subsidy is out of his control.
Okay, remove subsidy. What
Okay.
about the increase in tariffs from US? It's out of his control now.
Okay.
That's out of his
That's
control.
importing to US, not exporting from US.
Exporting from US also carry extra charges now.
The importing is where they really raised it. The exporters still remain the same. The importing, they raised it from like 10 to 25, which makes, so actually it was 3 to 25, which makes a lot of sense. US is trying to better their economy. Fine. I'm not arguing with that. Exporting is still the same. That's my point.
Okay, but even at that, the inflation rate in Nigeria is not something that is easily controlled or is easily like reduced. But if we're actually being honest with ourselves, Central Bank of Nigeria has made some moves that have somewhat normalized the rates. If you have noticed,
I agree.
they kind of centralized the banking system and did all this. For a time, especially in the beginning of the year, from January to February, the price stayed around, it hovered between 1.4, 1.6 for a time. But anyways, that's even. You're making me talk about Tinubu. I don't want to talk about Tinubu. Like,
Let's leave politics.
date this guy.
I think it's okay. I think we're good. I think, to be very honest, what I'll just say last on this topic and then we'll end is that I've said it before. I said it just a few minutes ago. I don't need you. See, sometimes, man, for every regime, things get worse. If you leave it, if you try, that's what I'm saying. I don't even mean like you should just get everything. Just try and maintain where we are. Nigeria just needs a level of stability for a while because people are talking about price increase. Do you know that even as bad as it is, if we maintain these prices for a while, let's say like, let me not cost Nigeria, but just for a while, let's leave it for a while. We'll adjust to this level and we'll be okay. The problem is every day things get worse. Do you get what I'm saying? If Tinubu can bring it back down and maintain at that level, it's not perfect. Nobody's saying he is, but it's all right. That's my point. Do you get?
I think you need to personally tell him this.
That's
That you know that
Anyway.
Nigerians want stability.
Stability is okay. Like, people want progress, but at this point, what we just need, to be honest, it's small. Do
To
you
be
get what I'm
honest
saying?
with you, you're the first person that I'm listening to that has talked about Nigeria and is emphasizing stability. Most people want better things.
But the reality is
Exactly.
these things take time.
Exactly. Most
But
Nigerians want
what I'm
better
not asking for is, as it's taking time, stabilize,
And that's
then we
why-
can move forward.
And that's why a lot of Nigerians fall for all these guys, because they are always promising heaven and earth. Do you get?
It's fine. It's
They
fine.
all- you know now,
It's fine.
when this guy wanted to enter, you build this, you do this, you do that, you do this. And then, we are where we are. Petrol is 1,000 naira, basically. That 900 where they drag is 1,000. Because by the time you buy 20, 30 liters,
That's gone.
exactly, do you get?
Anyway, God bless Nigeria. I'm not a politician. I cannot talk about Nigeria.
You
too
can
much.
start now.
I just ranted my
I'll
rant.
vote for you.
I don't want. Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening to us. Dami, do you have anything for them to say?
Nothing really.
Say something.
Vote for who you think is right the next time. Don't vote for person that will say petrol 200 next Kineo. Please, I beg. Let's know what we are doing.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. We appreciate you for what you do. If you have any questions, comments, leave it in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow us on all our platforms. Bye.